under attack!
A fleet of 35 high-speed attack boats carrying over 280 elite fighters armed with cutting-edge weapons launched a lightning assault on a U.S.-flagged Coast Guard vessel in the South China Sea. They believed they could seize the ship, dominate a strategic maritime zone, and send a defiant message to the world in mere minutes. But they made a catastrophic mistake in challenging the United States. This wasn't just any Coast Guard ship. It was a vital link in the U.S. Navy's global missile defense network. When attacked, America didn't respond with words, but with thunder, cutting-edge technology, and overwhelming, unstoppable power. You're about to witness one of the fastest, most precise counteroffensives, rescues, and eliminations in modern military history. No compromise, no mercy, no one dares to touch the stars and stripes and walk away unscathed. Can the United States reclaim the ship and defend its honor? Will the attackers pay a heavy price for their audacity? Welcome to the B-21 Raider channel, where conflicts aren't just recounted, they're dissected through the lens of expert strategists. Here, the battlefield isn't just a place of combat, but a stage for showcasing power, intelligence, and geopolitical ambition. Let's dive into the gripping events of this story. On September 20th, 2025, a scorching noon in the South China Sea, the global epicenter of geopolitical tension, a meticulously planned plot, months in the making, erupted. A U.S. Navy Coast Guard vessel, the USS Vanguard, disguised as a scientific research ship, was silently navigating through the exclusive economic zone near the Paracel Islands. Its mission wasn't oceanographic survey, but the deployment of advanced radar sensors for the Aegis Ballistic Missile Defense System, the strategic shield protecting America's allies in the Asia-Pacific. Aboard the ship, 15 U.S. sailors were equipped with light arms, but the true value lay in the cargo hold. A suite of next-generation satellite navigation systems, high-level encrypted military software, a fusion energy core for powering laser missile defense systems, and a batch of top-secret electronic components for linking with military surveillance satellites. These weren't just tools. They were the lifeblood of America's defense and strike capabilities in the region. Put simply, the USS Vanguard wasn't just a ship, it was a cornerstone of U.S. global strategy, an asset worth far more than any ransom. Whoever seized it would hold the key to disrupting America's defense network in the Western Pacific, potentially threatening the security of allies like Japan and South Korea. But did the attackers grasp its significance? Or did they see it as an easy target for chaos and profit? At 12:15 p.m. from the horizon, 35 high-speed attack boats emerged like a pack of wolves closing in on prey. Each boat carried 8 fighters, totaling over 280 operatives armed to the teeth with M4, A1 assault rifles, anti-tank rocket launchers, Stinger shoulder-fired missiles, and even electronic jamming devices. They moved at a terrifying speed exceeding 65 knots, splitting into 5 multi-directional attack formations, coordinating with military precision. These weren't ordinary pirates, but a meticulously organized operation, bearing signs of training and funding from a larger power, perhaps a rival nation, or a non-state actor aiming to challenge the regional order. One group suppressed from a distance with heavy machine gun fire and missiles, while others used fast boats to board, scaling the ship with grappling hooks and ropes with astonishing speed and precision. Every move was calculated as if rehearsed hundreds of times. In just 4 minutes and 30 seconds, the U.S. ship was completely overwhelmed. 6 sailors were killed, 4 were severely injured, and the control room fell into enemy hands. The remaining crew was bound with cable ties, forced face down on the deck, with gun barrels pressed against their skulls. The situation seemed entirely in the enemy's favor. But at that moment of apparent despair, a small but pivotal detail changed everything. The captain of the USS Vanguard, a former Navy SEAL with 18 years of experience, activated an encrypted distress signal before being subdued. This signal didn't go to an embassy or diplomatic channels. It was sent directly to the Combat Operations Center of the Pacific Fleet stationed aboard the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, 180 nautical miles away. In just 2 minutes and 20 seconds, a code red Priority 1 alert flashed across the command screens, signaling a direct attack on a critical U.S. asset. The question arises, how could a group of fighters dare to attack a U.S. ship in the South China Sea, an area heavily monitored by American satellites and radar? Were they trained, funded, and directed by a hidden force, perhaps a rival nation or an organization seeking to weaken America's presence in Asia? And if they succeeded in bringing the ship to a nearby port, what would happen to regional security? The answer would send shockwaves across the globe. We live in an era where the line between conventional warfare and unconventional conflict is increasingly blurred. Gray zone attacks like this, half war, half terrorism, are a growing threat. Protecting strategic assets like the USS Vanguard is no longer a secondary task but a cornerstone of U.S. defense strategy. This ship is part of a global integrated defense network built in the 1990s and fully upgraded under President Donald Trump. With stealth sensors, real-time satellite navigation, and the ability to summon rapid response forces in under 10 minutes, America has created a system unmatched by any other nation. Not Russia, not China, and certainly not a group of fighters, armed with shoulder-fired missiles and jammers. So what gave them such confidence to challenge a superpower? A chilling hypothesis from analysts suggests this wasn't a random attack but a move in a larger campaign, possibly a probe or diversion backed by a power seeking to undermine the US-led international order. Whatever the reason, this action triggered an unprecedented US response in the South China Sea since the USS Cole attack in 2000. When the distress signal was confirmed, Rear Admiral James Carter, commander of the Pacific Fleet, issued a terse statement. No one touches U.S. assets and expects to walk away. If you strike us, you face the full might of the United States. And true to his words, beneath the calm surface of the South China Sea, a storm of steel was brewing, ready to obliterate every threat. If you were leading a special forces team, what would you do when the enemy is less than 9 nautical miles from shore? Would you negotiate or strike first? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget, this is just the beginning of one of the fastest, most precise, and fiercest military operations the U.S. Navy has ever conducted in the 21st century. Let's return to the action. A silent distress signal was sent. A Coast Guard vessel was seized by over 280 heavily armed fighters, and a superpower was challenged in the heart of the South China Sea. Just 3 minutes after the signal was activated, Pacific Command relayed the emergency code to the USS Abraham Lincoln. Code Red Priority 1 marked a direct attack on a strategic asset. Immediately, the entire fleet shifted to combat readiness, bypassing Pentagon orders or diplomatic channels. The command was issued on site by Rear Admiral Carter with a single sentence: "Launch Operation Iron Tempest, effective immediately." Iron Tempest is the code name for a rapid response doctrine developed in 2022 under President Donald Trump's guidance, designed for instantaneous counterstrikes on any battlefield, unbound by political or bureaucratic delays. It's a perfect fusion of cutting-edge technology, real-time intelligence, and overwhelming firepower. Before the enemy could regroup, America's sword was poised to strike. On the flight deck of the USS Abraham Lincoln, 14 MH-60R Seahawk helicopters were rolled out, each carrying 25 elite Navy SEALs and Marines, totaling 350 battle-hardened warriors trained to retake ships under any conditions, even if rigged with explosives or moving at high speed. Simultaneously, in the hangar below, 8 F-35C Lightning II fighters were armed and fueled. Each carried precision-guided GBU-53/B bombs, AGM-158 JSSM air-to-surface missiles, and GOU-22A cannons firing 3,300 rounds per minute. But that wasn't all. 18 MQ-9B Sea Guardian drones were launched from the destroyer USS Michael Murphy, 100 nautical miles away. Developed since 2021, these UAVs excel in both reconnaissance and attack, carrying AGM-114 Hellfire missiles, GBU-39 laser-guided bombs, and real-time thermal imaging systems. This is a vivid testament to the U.S. defense philosophy, not just superior in numbers, but unmatched in synchronization, intelligence, and precision. Within 7 minutes and 30 seconds of the distress signal, the skies above the South China Sea roared with jet engines, radar signals, and satellite navigation. 3 waves of attack were deployed under the Iron Thunder Grid doctrine, a new U.S. Navy tactic designed to optimize firepower and speed. Wave 1, MQ-9B drones flew low at 50 meters, scanning the sea to pinpoint the USS Vanguard and 6 enemy escort vessels. Wave 2, 8 F-35s swooped in from 25,000 feet using precision firepower to neutralize the escort boats, clearing the path for helicopters. Wave 3, 14 MH-60RS skimmed the waves at 12 meters, evading enemy radar, to land directly on the ship for the rescue. Every unit was coordinated by an E-3 Sentry AWACS, using triple-layer quantum encryption protocols, ensuring no signal could be intercepted, no command jammed. Under President Donald Trump, information warfare technology reached new heights, turning every operation into a war machine precise to the millisecond. As U.S. forces closed in, the combat map showed the USS Vanguard just 8.8 nautical miles from a neighboring nation's coast. If the enemy reached port, the mission would shift to complex urban combat, risking civilian and hostage casualties. There was no room for hesitation or error. Rear Admiral Carter declared firmly, "This isn't just a rescue, it's a global warning. Touch America, and you face an unstoppable system." From 180 nautical miles away, U.S. Special Forces unleashed one of the fastest naval counteroffensives in history. Why could America respond in under 9 minutes? The secret lies in a global integrated combat network developed since the Cold War and fully modernized under Trump. Artificial intelligence for tactical coordination, stealth sensors, and zero-latency satellite navigation allow the U.S. to detect and eliminate threats across thousands of nautical miles. No other fleet in the world matches this real-time strike capability, and that was proven in the South China Sea at 12:24 p.m. when Operation Iron Tempest entered its action phase. In the skies, MQ-9B drones locked onto 6 enemy escort vessels, each 18 meters long, armed with heavy machine guns, anti-ship missiles, and electronic jammers. In 12 seconds, Hellfire missiles turned them into columns of fire and smoke rising dozens of meters. From 25,000 feet, 8 F-35s dove like thunder, unleashing GAU, 22 A cannon fire, shredding steel and sandbag fortifications. Any fighter with a shoulder-fired missile was eliminated before they could aim. From the southwest, 14 MH-60R helicopters appeared, flying 12 meters above the waves in perfect formation. Ropes dropped, and 350 SEALs and Marines stormed the deck of the USS Vanguard. They moved like a programmed machine, with no chaos, no shouts, only steady steps and imminent death for the enemy. From bow to stern, every room, every corridor was cleared. One assault team breached the control room, neutralizing 4 fighters in a split second with suppressed weapons. Another hit the engine room, using flashbangs and sidearms to disable the guards. In the central hold, 9 surviving hostages and 4 critically injured were found, bound with cables under gunpoint. Medics rushed in, providing first aid, stopping bleeding, and evacuating victims to a safe zone at the ship's center. The rapid response team formed a defensive perimeter, weapons trained in all directions, ready to fire at any sign of resistance. In just 9 minutes, the USS Vanguard was fully retaken. Not a single U.S. hostage was lost, not a single error in the operation. Every enemy fighter on the ship was either eliminated or captured. This wasn't just a victory, it was a proclamation of the U.S. military's unmatched power. But the story didn't end there. As U.S. forces secured the ship, a drone signal detected an underground base 7.5 nautical miles off the coast, where the enemy planned to offload the ship's classified equipment. This complex, with weapon bunkers, military radar, fuel depots, and a hidden dock, had operated in secrecy for over 12 years, serving as a logistics hub for illicit activities in the region. Commander Carter, staring at the tactical screen, ordered without hesitation, "Wipe it out! Leave no trace." A new strike force was deployed immediately. 10 F-35s flew at 500 feet, dropping laser-guided GBU-53B bombs, leveling command buildings and radar towers. 3 minutes later, 5 MQ-9B drones fired Hellfire missiles, hitting weapon bunkers, triggering a chain explosion that turned the area into a blazing inferno. Black smoke rose hundreds of meters, and temperatures at the blast's core exceeded 1,000 degrees Celsius. From the destroyer, USS Michael Murphy, 200 Marines landed, supported by drones, thermal scopes, and AI-generated terrain maps. They split into small teams, sweeping every area, every tunnel, with no warnings, no negotiations. In 30 minutes, over 600 enemy fighters were neutralized or captured. The wounded were handcuffed, blindfolded, and taken to the carrier for interrogation. By 1 p.m., the largest underground base in the South China Sea was erased from the military map. A stronghold once deemed untouchable, operating in secrecy for over a decade, was reduced to ash, twisted steel, and scorched earth. Do you think a group of fighters could stand against such a war machine? Do you believe a rescue could be completed in just 9 minutes without losing a single hostage? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget, this isn't Hollywood. This is proof of America's unyielding strength. Operation Iron Tempest didn't just save a ship, it sent a resounding message to the world. Touch America and you sign your own death warrant. Under President Donald Trump, the U.S. military isn't just the strongest, it's the most precise war machine, from satellites in orbit to soldiers on the sea. Operations like Iron Tempest succeed because tactical data travels with less than 0.1 second latency. Navigation systems can't be jammed, and every Special Forces operator carries biometric trackers linked to command via quantum encrypted signals. This is the future of warfare, and America is leading it. But it didn't stop there. As the dust settled, a satellite reconnaissance report revealed another logistics network, 12 nautical miles away, preparing to receive the stolen equipment from the USS Vanguard. Rear Admiral Carter ordered the operation expanded, targeting this network to eliminate the threat entirely. A new strike force was deployed, 6 FA, 18 Super Hornets, and 3 MQ-25 Stingray drones fired precision-guided missiles, destroying storage facilities and infrastructure. A second Marine Force, 150 strong, deployed from the amphibious assault ship USS Macon Island, swept the area in 20 minutes. The result, another 300 enemy fighters neutralized, and the entire logistics network erased. This wasn't just a military operation, it was a global proclamation. No one touches America without paying dearly. President Donald Trump, in a White House address after the operation, declared, "We don't let a single link in our defense chain be broken. No U.S. ship stands alone in the ocean, and no enemy survives after daring to touch our flag." This wasn't just a statement, it was the oath of a nation. We live in an era where warfare has no clear boundaries. It could be drone strikes, espionage networks, heavily armed non-state forces, or disguised mercenaries. But no matter who the enemy is or where they come from, one principle never changes. U.S. ships never sail alone. Every vessel is a symbol of power, every attack is a declaration of war, and every U.S. counterstrike is the endgame. If you believe America's strength lies not just in its carriers, but in its unwavering resolve, if you're proud that every U.S. flagged ship is backed by an entire nation, leave a comment below. You've just witnessed a rare moment in modern warfare history. A total reckoning, a statement in bombs and bullets that no one can touch the United States and stand tall. Thank you for watching our analysis of this conflict's events. If you're passionate about geopolitics, military power, and the stories behind global battlefields, the B-21 Raider channel is for you. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments.